Control is personally one of my favorite archetypes to play, but unfortunately, it just was not very good in the Scarlet and Violet format. The super wide format was just made things not very easy to counter. Control always performs better in smaller formats, but it gets a couple new things in Paldea Evolve that I think might change that. So I'm going to be going over my current list of Control for the Paldea Evolve format. I'm not going to go too in-depth to any particular cards. If you'd like me to make a dedicated Control matchup strategy video, let me know in the comments section. So let's just get into it. I'm playing the 2-2 Curly line just like Sander was at EUIC, just for the draw power of Refinement is just so strong. Being able to thin through those cards that we don't need and just draw through the deck very quickly is very important to this deck strategy. I'm also playing one Rotom and one Radiant Greninja to get through the deck quickly that way. Instant Charge is awesome to end our turn on, and we can use Radiant Greninja to thin through her unwanted special energies. I'm playing the Mimikyu V in this deck for the Mimikyu loop that we saw in the previous format. Any deck that does not play past the peak is not going to appreciate this lock, because we can just put down two Mimikyus with that Dummy Doll ability, then our opponent cannot damage either one of them, and then we can slowly grind them out with that Jealous Eyes attack and using Penny to pick them up every single turn. Playing one of the promo Manaphy that can force our opponent to bench Pokemon if we can find them in their hand. I'm also playing one Bench Barrier Manaphy, which is something I do not want to play, but I'm afraid of Chin-Pao deck sniping down my Curlius early in the game. I'm playing one Cry of Destruction Yveltal, mainly for Fusion Strike Mew. It also could be nice against a colorless Lugia deck. Being able to discard a special energy is always very strong. We're still playing that Mobile with the Tempting Trap, being able to lock our opponent from retreating. This is integral for several of your strategies into Lugia and Gardevoir. I'm playing one Umbreon V, and I'll quickly explain the strategy behind this card. We're going to use Mean Look, which is 50 damage with a single strike energy, which means it'll do 100 with weakness to a Gardevoir reacts. So 100 times 3 is 300 damage. Then we can put a Panic Mask on a Mawile, and they can never attack and can never retreat that Gardevoir and lock it in place. We also can do that against Lugia. We can Gust Up an Archeops, do 2 Mean Looks for 50, one Mean Look for 30, and then Panic Mask Mawile to close out the game that way. We're playing one Regieleki just to have infinite resources to be able to recover all our trainer cards is just so good. Playing one Shadow Rider Calyrex to lock down Mew players, just locking out special energies, and then I'm combining that with like Flannery, Crushing Hammer to shut them down that way. I'm playing one Galarian Stunfisk, and Luminous Energy enables this card. It's normally not practical to play Metal Energies, but if our opponent has a Stadium card in play, we can discard it, and then if we do discard Stadium, we can discard 2 of their energies. So this will be great against RC stacks where energies are premium. They also like to use Judge Path against us, but it sort of makes them think twice about dropping their own Stadiums. It's also great for the element of surprise in that matchup, because like especially if you're playing best of 3, all it takes is 1 to really devastate your opponent, and then they won't, like, there's not going to be time for a game 2 or a game 3 in all likelihood. So a very powerful card. We're using one Ditto to copy all of our non-Rulebox Pokemon in this card pile. There are quite a few of them. I'm playing one Luxray, which is normally too frail to succeed, but with Charm of Courage, I think it might actually have a chance now. Being able just to look at your opponent's hand and discard any trainer cards is so strong. We can get rid of switching cards or recovery cards or boss sorters, lost vacuum, or anything that might really annoy us, and use Penny to pick it up and reuse it again. I'm playing one Great Tusk, and this is where Sander played Ursaluna in the last format. I'm playing Great Tusk instead because it has 10 less HP total. I mean, Ursaluna had 230, but had the ability that gave it minus 30, so sort of a wash, I would say. But the attack rate does 50 damage, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it actually means we can do damage pressure on this with this in the Arceus matchup. We could like Gust Up a Barrel, hit it for 100, and Panic Mask lock potentially, or we can just pressure for 100 on an Arceus and then Penny. It just gives us a bit more flexibility than the Ursaluna does. Then to close out the Pokemon, we're playing one of the Safeguard Mimikyu. It keeps Arceus decks honest. It just keeps the format honest in general. Makes it our opponent always has to commit to a non-EX or V attacker. Moving into the trainers, we're playing 3 Pennies. It's just the enabler of a lot of our looping strategies. Allows us to pick up our basic Pokemon and heal them right up. We're playing 2 Bosses Orders as a way to we can Gust Up Pokemon that are hard for our opponent to move, force them to burn switching cards that way. We're playing one Team Yelchier, which can cover all our supporter cards and all of our Pokemon. It's the only Pokemon recovery we have in the deck. So if our opponent does aggressively chase down a Manaphy, we might have to use Yelchier to recover it that way. Playing one Flannery, which is a single strike card, which will be notable later. It can discard a special energy from a Mew player, also a stadium, so if we're getting past the peak locked, Flannery is a nice way to bounce stadiums. Our one Silene is the most versatile recovery card we have. It is a coin flip, but it can recover any card in the deck, so we're using this to recover Pal Pad or special energies most of the time. I'm playing one Acerole's Premonition because they can allow us to check our opponent's hand, so we don't have to just go in blind on a Luxray or a Manaphy play. I'm playing one Peonia because we have a lot of 1-ofs in this deck that suck to be prized, so can use Peonia to hopefully find those wanted cards that are prized. One Chorus to get through the deck. Usually we have cards that are useless in particular matchups that we don't mind lost zoning. One Zinnia's Resolve because it gives us a discard draw card that is not resetting our hand. We like to accumulate our hand, just have a lot of resources in it. I definitely could see Zinnia being a second Chorus though. 4 Level Ball and 3 Nest Ball for Ball Search. Just want to set up. I would like to have a space for our 4th Nest Ball, but I don't feel like we really have a space for it right now. 3 Pal Pads to just enable all our silly stuff, give us 9 pennies to win the game with our Mimikyu Penny Loop. 2 Crushing Hammers to whittle down our opponent's resources. This is just great against Arceus, where they're playing like thin counts of basic energies that we can hopefully discard. 1 Sweet Heavy Ball because we play a ton of 1-of Pokemon. 2 Charm Recurrers to slap on our Luxray or our Umbreon or Great Tusk. 1 Forest Seal Stone just as a V-Star power for this deck to serve as a computer search, cherry pick any one resource that we need. I'm only playing 1 Panic Mask, which I'm not thrilled about because I feel like Lugia and Gardevoir could add Lost Vacuum to their list. If that does start to happen, definitely add a second Panic Mask to this deck, but it's just great for those Umbreon combos like I mentioned before. Then for stadiums, I'm playing 3 Towers of Darkness. This has a bit of bonus draw. We can just discard those single strike cards and draw 2. So in matches where we don't need Umbreon, we can churn through it. We can of course churn through the other Towers of Darkness and just keep drawing cards. And to close it out, we have 3 double turbo energies, 3 luminous energies. I love luminous energy in this deck. It lets me cheat on my energy count. I like to play just water energies and psychic energies. And fighting energies, I can just play luminous energy and then 2 single strike energies to attack with Umbreon. So here's my full list. It's kind of a mess, so if you'd like me to make a more in-depth control guide, matchup breakdown, I definitely can do that. I definitely like to make that video after we have Paldea evolved out for a little bit so I can test the matchups on ptcg myself. But what do you think of control? Do you think it does have legs in the Paldea evolved format? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you enjoy this kind of content, please consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel. I post Pokemon TCG content every single day. And if you want to see a guide for this deck, it is outdated. It doesn't have all of the new cards, but the general matchup premises are the same. Here's my control guide. Check it out if you want to learn more about this deck.